eventually somebody will be on here. We finally got done. I wanted to take up where I left off. You guys see me, I had this reel and this reel both torn apart the last time you guys saw me, I think. I've since then put this reel back together and we changed some stuff around. So somebody asked, you know, the whole single lifestyle. I kind of started to go, I wasn't going away from them. I was just trying these without, you know, regular handles, which are fine, but I can't help it. And I'd argue that one way looks better than the other. I don't really do it like this just for looks. It's more of a just preference nowadays. But so with this back together, it was, if you guys haven't seen that, this thing had no grease in there on the gears. They looked almost dry, like. So I coated it up pretty good, and I was kind of doing a bearing count on this one. This reel, I didn't tear into all of it, but it looks like it's got, and I didn't take the bottom gear off, so, but it should have a bearing there. It had one here, the roller bearing, so that is basically, I think it's 11 plus 1. So, okay, you got 2 there. It had 2 here, 3, 4. So that's 6. Now I didn't take apart the handle either, but I'm guessing there's 2 on each handle knob. So that's typical of how these are. And then there's probably 1 right in here, but not over here. For whatever reason, where the main gear is in here, they'll put a bearing, or they won't, just a bushing, but like where you can change it out later. Over here, it's just like a little piece made on. It's typically like how Daiwa does it. I didn't go into this bearing or the one in here, but I'm assuming they're there, or the handle, which I haven't checked. But so far, this reel, I didn't really have a reason to tear it apart any further. I wanted to get it back together. I had this reel also to deal with, which does not have near as many bearings. You can tell right off the bat. It's missing the one up here. There's just nothing there. It's got the roller bearing, and then I don't even know what's on the inside. Out here, it's got a bearing. The inner part on the gear is just a bushing that you cannot change to a bearing as far as I know. And then it's got 2 spool bearings, and then it doesn't have anything up here. If it's just like the PW100, which I'm sure it probably is. But, okay, check this one out. If you guys haven't seen this one. I had it apart, and I decided at the moment I don't want to try to make my own, but what I may do, because a lot of you guys don't want to try to make your own, what I may use this for is I'll try to track down one from AliExpress, probably for a Daiwa, just like I took, if you guys remember right, no wait, I think I made that. Which one? Oh, this one, the Cast King. I actually took and made the Daiwa one work, because this one didn't have a clicker. And oh yeah, I switched out my knob on the Cast King. I just kind of, I'm on this little like, kind of like the knobs I made, because I cut these down and I made them, and I got a bunch of them, just different. I was just in a mood one day, and I went and bought some wooden dowel deals or whatever, and I just kind of made different shades, colors, different sizes. Thought I liked the fat ones. I don't. I actually need to cut these down. I like them skinny. So anyway, what was I talking about? So I think there's, and Charles said he ordered one for the Black Max. They make them for a lot of different reels. They make the DIY clickers, or I forget what they're actually calling them now. So I think what I'm going to use this reel for is I'm just going to order one. I'll look and see what I think will work based off, because all this thing has, it's got the gear, funky, it probably needs a carbon disc, which I have a bunch of these laying around. I could have slid one in there and all this and that, but I just left it alone. I'll probably try to get a clicker for it. So look for that in an upcoming video. I know I'm getting to an unboxing. Just give me a minute. So I got those together, and I was trying to find handles for these, and these really need carbon fiber handles. And I came to the conclusion, I've got the original one that goes with this guy. So I may just retire this guy. Oh yeah, another thing real quick. Oh my goodness, my videos are always long because I got so much stuff that pops up. If you guys didn't see the video, these are basically the same reel, right? Well, this one looks like it has just a better designed overall roller, anti-reverse in it. The main bearing itself, the shafts are pretty much the same thing, but the main roller bearing part looks made better. It's got like one more rows of the flat rollers in it. Feels a little tighter, but as far as, like, that feels free. But when I had it out, it felt way tighter than this one ever did, or almost any of them ever did, but it works good. So anyway, this one is not any kind of issue. I don't know how old this one is. I just picked it up used. But this one failed after a few years. So instead of really ordering one, if I can track down how to order one, I think I'm going to try I'll just order one of the roller bearings for the Spirit Fox, slap it in this baby, be good to go. But I'm also thinking about just putting the stock handle back on it and retiring it also. This is the one that caught my personal best. I got a ton of reels. I'm also going to be selling some, but I'll talk more about that in a minute. So I got that going on. But I don't really have any, unless I just decide to cut these down. Because I got a couple different aluminums and shiny metal on these black and purple reels. Just, it doesn't look right. So I may just stick the handles back on it and fish them for a while. But while I was doing that, here's another thing that I wanted to talk about before the unboxing. All that other stuff I just decided to throw in. Somebody brought it to my attention. I never read, you know me, I don't read instructions. I don't read manuals. I just get it and do it. But this one, and I had seen it before, that bearings 11. Well, I was trying to count because I haven't torn apart this reel yet. But we did tear into this one the other day. I don't remember. Somebody asked, so I just looked, and I took one side off and I put bearings in it. Because guess what? I'm going to take this side off to show you guys. So if it's got 11, and it doesn't specify 11 with or without, it just says 11. So let's just say that it's counting the roller bearing, right? So it should have 10 other bearings in this reel. Well, here, in this handle assembly, where'd the other one go? Oh, it's in there. You just can't make it out. Well, it's too dark. Hang on. They're just white bushings. See that? So that means what should be 4 bearings, that would have made the count 4, and we'd only had 6 to go in here, right? Well, they're not there. So we still need to find, if that's accurate, we need to find 10 bearings other than the roller bearing inside this reel. I don't think it's possible to fit 10 in there. If they put them in anywhere I can think of, you should put them. So I didn't plan on doing it. I was planning on making a separate video, but you know what? We're going to do it right now. We're going to tear this reel apart and we're going to count. Yeah, don't worry. I know how to put them back together. This has a weird clicker. I'd never seen one like this before, and I guess I'd never taken apart my original one. That's not my original one, but I owned one before. So the clicking thing is in there, and it's got these 2 little ends that catch on this part, and that's what does the clicking. Okay, so anyway, you guys know all that, right? Let's make some room. Quick tear down. Now, I did notice that these are on right. Finally, see how those 2 brake disc washers, whatever, that actually work for the drag, that's how they're supposed to be put on, not like bunched up. But here's another deal. I forgot to tell you. I tried to put them on that way on this. The tolerances, the way it gives you, I couldn't. And that must have been why they did it. Like if you put them on like this, when I put the drag star on, all the way loosened with the handle on, the drag still is engaged and it like is too tight. So I put them back the way they were. I mean, it works that way, but that is really not right. So technically it's a design flaw due to that fact. It's not going to affect it, but for the way they're supposed to work is just like they're on this one. They will work that way. And don't worry, I'm a professional. I know how these go back on. So this has all the right stuff so far. It's got a bearing here. Wait, how many does it have? Okay, so now it just has 2 of the same ones. A lot of them have, you need a skinny one to touch just the inner race, not the outer. And this one just has 2 skinny ones. So it could have had a little thicker one after that. So we know how that works. So we count 1 bearing. There's 1. We found a bearing in this reel. Let me take the spool out. We'll count those real quick. So there's 1 there. You guys counting them? So there's 2. Those are your more or less hybrid ceramic micro bearings. So I'm gonna have to tear this whole reel apart. Oh boy, I did not plan on doing this tonight. I'm looking real quick to see the screws. I think the screws are just like what's on the lingle. I think I got 3 on the outside, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 right there. Pretty much the same. It's not the same reel. It looks totally different. I don't know. I'm sure the side plates, there's no way in heck they could think about interchanging. But it does have the same kind of design as far as just one over here. So if it's like the lingle, this one will be longer, and then these 3 will be shorter. So let's just tear it apart. We're doing a bearing count. We're going to get to it. I'm anxious to see which. I have no idea which rod that is. I've got a rod, came in the mail today. I just looked today on AliExpress to see what was the deal, and it didn't show anything. Like nothing was updated, showed nothing actually over in the States, really. So far, these are all the same. And that's what I had mentioned about the lingle. Why not just make all screws the same length on a reel? How hard would that be? Looks like maybe they've done it. I knew I liked this reel for a reason. I don't know what to do. Also, if you guys, I know I'm not going to, there's no way I'm going to be able to count 10 bearings in here. What would you guys do? I already got an adjustment on this because the spool weighs 7.8. I know somebody's going, don't buy anything off AliExpress. No, that's not an option. Okay, so wow. All 4 screws are the same. You can't put them in wrong. Sides should pop right off. I don't know if has anybody showed these one of these apart yet? I'm sure somebody has. That gear is a whole different color. That is the Black Knight gear. That's why. All right, let me set this down real quick. So that's the inner part here. I'll try to keep it all in the frame. I don't want to like make you guys think I'm trying to give you an optical illusion. So there is a bearing there. Now, I think at one time, whoa, we just lost something. Oh, we lost a bearing. There's a roller bearing. They really made this thing match. It's even got a blue roller bearing. So remember now, though, we counted the roller bearing as the 1, so we're looking for 10. So we got 1, 2, set that down, 3, 4, right? Is that all we got? None in the handle. Okay, hang on. I was just checking out this. This is cool. They've kind of gone a little ways out of the way to lighten this up. You see those? You see those holes? Now this is not a heavy-duty reel. This is a little finessey, very light, 30mm spool, very lightweight to throw that little stuff. I'm going to put it through the paces. I'm definitely going to try to use it above and beyond that. Some of you guys are looking at that going, oh my gosh. But you'd be surprised how stout that part it still is. That part doesn't bother me. All right, we got to tear into it more. I have to pull all this. I'm going to pull this off in one shot, and then we're going to look at it more. Now it's got a little bitty spacer. That's to do with the spacing. This is going to be hard to remember. It is definitely put a little different. All right, hang on. Sometimes the key is just to lay it out when you're on a reel that you've never really had apart before. All the others are very similar. I'm not sure about this guy yet. So that stuff's stuck on the bottom. So I do like that. It's got, see that carbon fiber disc there? Now it's got a definitely different clicker. You guys can see that. Let me pull that out. This is where spring or who knows what could pop out on a clicker system. Okay, the clickers, this is built in. This is kind of cool. See, here's it's just got the metal, and I think I've seen somebody, somebody made these and was making them for the alphas before this new Get Your Bid, but whatever they call that thing. Quit Your Bitchin' came out. Geico Pigeon, I don't know what they call that reel. I'm just seeing if this does come out. So you have to watch, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. I can tell it's got a rounded end right off the bat and a squared off end. And I'm sure there's a spring in there. I'm not going to go that far. I'm sure there's a little spring. There's no bearing in there. Yeah. Spring-loaded clicker. So that's not that bad because you can pull that out, just don't lose it, throw it around. That's a very small little piece and you don't want to lose it. So it's got 2 of these washers, which I'm just going to take them off so I'll know if they're the same size. They look different. Yeah. The bottom is smaller. Remember that. That one's bigger. I can put it back in there actually. And I'll probably add a little more grease. This doesn't look like it's got a ton of grease. This is the real. Now, if it was me, when I go to put it back in, what I would do is push, see how you push that in? And then just pop it in. And then just leave that set. If you don't have to tear, if you're not messing with the brakes, the drag brakes, whatever. No need to have that pulled apart. Hang on a second, wipe my hands off. So I take this off. And almost all your reels do have that. And I do see, I think, a bearing in there. We're running out of spaces for there to be bearings. I didn't really want to take this off, but I will. This screwdriver probably won't be strong enough, so hang on. Let me get, and just sometimes right off the bat, I like to go right with the big boy if it fits. Yeah, if the bigger screwdriver fits, I suggest that. If the little one, like when you're up in on the outside of the frame to where you could scratch stuff up with the big one, then use a little one. So I'm gonna pull these screws out just to, you don't really need to take this out. This part right here, you don't need to take off unless you're servicing, either changing out that gear or messing with the bearing underneath for whatever reason. We're just seeing, I can't get on there. I'm trying to look through the camera. We're just seeing if there's a bearing there. Then I'm gonna put this right back on. There should be a bearing for sure under there. Yep. So there's a bearing. I guess, no, I'm not putting it right back on. We're going to set it down. Oh boy, we're going to tear this thing all apart. We got to have the bearings out where you guys can. Who's keeping count? Oh, this thing slid off. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We've only got 3 more places there could be bearings that I know of. Right here, and 1 in each side of the, right here, of your line guide. Unless I got a bearing stuffed up there. So I don't have to pull this part. I just need to take this off. This is your, the only thing tricky to these is springs go right over the top. No big deal. They're the same, top or bottom, doesn't matter. This thing can be tricky for some people, but if you look, there's a flat side that has no sort of angle. See that? The bottom side is the one with the like ramps on it. That's what engages and disengages. So if you get these things thrown off and you're like, oh my God, which way did that go? So there's a bearing. Make sure there's just one. Yeah, there's just one bearing in there. It is there. It is a bearing. You can see. That's where I was upset that you see this outer part right here on this reel, and this actually looks like it had enough grease. So there's grease sticking around. It was probably greased just about right. On the PW100 and the Spirit Fox, this part is made the shape of, instead of having a bearing or bushing, to where this gear, your gear fits like right in there. So I mean it real smooth, and it doesn't affect the casting because that part doesn't get involved in the spool. Just your 2 spool bearings. So, but that's was a kind of a letdown to me. But that's getting into the whole clutch, thumb bar, assembly stuff. We don't need to take any of that part. We already see that the bearing is there. Now in here, I don't really need to take the whole thing apart. I don't need to take this off. I just need to pop that, which you got to watch those. Sometimes those can go flying. That part's just for your little opening and closing the door. See that? So we don't need to mess with any of that. We just got to pop that little dude right there off, which can be a nightmare. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Just to see what's in there. Now, sometimes I'll give you a C-clip with enough to get something in there, like an X-Acto or whatever. You got to watch it. This is the one thing. RC cars used to have these all over them on the hinge pins, and it was a nightmare. I usually try to push it off into something. Yeah, see it. That way it wouldn't have, it's not going to go ping, flying off. So we're going to pop it off, push that out. And this is where you got to keep track of what's what. Usually, like just like that you see here, there's a little bitty, could be just one big one, or there's usually at least one big washer in there. So this should just come out. Should. Hang on, let me get the pin. I got a little C-clip. It should get out of there. It should just pop out. Should. Let me run that up a little bit. Why won't you cooperate? Okay, there it went. Yeah, that thing's so skinny it kept falling in there. So we got, oh boy, what a letdown. Somebody call them. You guys see that? Actually is not a horrible thing. It's bad that they didn't put a bearing there, but what is a good thing that I see, you can put a bearing there. That is a bushing, which means there can be a bearing bought that fits there. A lot of reels have just a huge plastic white thing that slides in there and turns a certain way, and you have to like buy a whole different stuff to bearing to go there. But it sucks that they didn't put one there. So how many bearings? This reel ain't got hardly any bearings. And then right here, you guys see that? I'm not going to tear it apart because I'm just going to leave it bushings for now. I mean, it's brand new. I'll use it. I'm going to probably try to track down bearings because I do like them. It is a letdown that it doesn't have any. I don't know if this is, if this is just their common practice to advertise all these bearings and then not put them in, or what's going on, but we're going to do a bearing count, and the count is low. So I'm not trying to I like the reel, but look at this. Read that again. Bearings go straight across. 11. Do you guys see that? Now it doesn't specify. The lingo says right on it, I think it says 10 plus 1, or maybe it says 11 plus 1. Means the roller plus that many. So we're even giving them a benefit of a doubt that one of those is the roller, and we only wanted to find 10 bearings in this reel. How many did we find? We got the roller bearing plus 2, so we just have 2 over here on the cranking side plate. We've got the spool bearings, which are good, nice bearings. So you may pay 10 to 20 bucks to get bearings that good on any other reel, but this is supposed to have this. So then we had was it just two? Okay, so we got 2 here. We got the one that's here, and then this guy. So we do have your main, your gears are all on bearings. So that's actually a good thing. They're all supported by bearings, but count it up again. 2, 4, 6. 6 bearings in this whole reel. Now, what it should have had, even if it would have had 2 here, we still would have been shy. We would have had 8. So evidently what happened, and I don't know if they had a shortage or what went on, but evidently this was supposed to have bearings in the handle. And I don't know. I've never even looked at this reel. I don't know. I bought this one used. I'm trying to look right now. I'm guessing it's got bearings. So I don't know if I've just got a dud that whoever was putting this in, they ran out of bearings, so they just wanted to get it out, or what's going on. But with the 6 plus the 4 in here, 2, one on each handle knob, would have been the 10. And the good news is, well, part of the news is I just usually switch out the handles anyway, so all I need to do is buy bearings, which I can buy, and I can have everywhere that this needs a bearing, it can have it and not have just one little bushing missing. So anyway, done with that. We got to go to the unboxing now. I'll put that back together later. You guys don't want to watch all that. And I may actually take those bearings out because I don't know if they have because I can go to the RC track and probably get bearings. That's another thing. If you guys have an RC track local to you, sometimes they can get the Boca bearings and the, what's the other one? There's another well-known name in RC and I think in the fishing that have bearings. And they can get them pretty cheap. They can get whatever kind you want to, ceramic, hybrid ceramic, or regular stainless. Okay. Hello. Hello. I don't even know what this rod is. We've got to find out. So anyway, did anybody comment? Right. Here's the thing. You're right. You know, bearings where it counts. Problem is the advertisement. False. Very false advertisement. Give you a number right on the box. I mean, I'm sure I bought this reel. Anybody bought this reel, that didn't have to be there. If it were just, you know, could even showed you, you know, just like you just said it. Bearings where it counts, here, there, whatever, you know, but fully upgradable with bushings or, you know, whatever. But it's just the fact they didn't. Hello. Just like this. Yeah, this will fish like that, but you advertise it 7.3 gram spool and it comes out 7.8. It's like, come on. Whoa. That RC car tire's falling. All right. Don't worry about that. Maid's going to pick that stuff up. That came in an actual tube. Seems like nothing got damaged. So let's see. I don't know. Like I said, I'm hoping if this is the rod I've been waiting for, I hope. Definitely has a fancier, nope. This ain't it either. What rod is this? Oh, this is CU double. Oh boy, here we go. This is the one. This is the one the Real Test keeps talking about. He's talked about it's the best bargain and rod he's ever got. I bought one. Now the one I bought, it was I don't even know how I bought it, but it was an Ace Hawk, but it didn't have two. It was like $25, and I think it was 5'6", and it didn't have two. An ultralight and a light tip. It had one tip, I believe, was an ultralight, but that thing broke like in test casting. So that came in a big, nice tube. This is a nice. I think I remember hearing him talk about it. That's a very nice, above average case for these, and they are separate. It's like like how some of them are split right down the middle. This one's actually separated like in half. So you got like the back part, which is the main rod, and then the two tips right front here. So I'm going to pull the tips out first. And we're just going to look at the tips. I stared at the handle. I think Charles actually has the handle. Okay, so we got two tips. This ultralight and a light. And I think, I'm trying to look. As far as I can tell, the light is just a solid hollow. There's not a... Yeah, that's what... Here's what I can already tell you, that this rod, the tips are nothing like what I had originally got. Mine had like a little thing where you could tell where they added a solid tip in. This one, as far as I can tell anyway, I can't tell that. But I could be wrong. Hang on, let me look. This is the ultralight. I believe that's the one I had. I'm just going to... Now, you guys bear with me. I'm going to do a test flex. All my other rods, I've been able to put a little bit of pressure on. So far, no problem. Now, I can't tell. Tip feels very light, too. It's got to be solid. I mean, that's got to be a solid tip, right? So where does it transfer? Because I can tell real quick on the, I already forget the name of it. The big trout lure killer. I can already tell on that rod. It's real easy to tell where they added it. Here, I can't really tell. Let's get the Dremel out. We'll find it. No. Trying to get it to focus, and you guys tell me which. And it's usually one of these guides. They use it to hide. They just slide in. They did it on the The big trout lure killer, the Tatula, that looks solid. Like right there, all that looks so skinny, it's got to be a solid tip. So that's got to be solid. That's got to be solid. Right there looks like it could be either or, but that's got to be solid. But it looks like it transitions exactly the same. Like it gets, right in here is big enough, any of that could be hollow. I'm trying to tell by bending it. Yeah, I think, I can't tell. I can't tell, and it makes a good, like the arch is pretty even. So hopefully I'll be impressed also. This definitely looks like a little different than what I had. Now here's the light tip. Now it looks, let me hold them together. Light tip is on top. It looks definitely, I'd say it's hollow all the way through. Or yeah, it's not a solid tipped rod or tip. Yeah, and the way it's flexing, I don't know if you guys can see, like see how it's going way back to the second or third eye. Like it's not just kinking up and working, which actually I like that. If hopefully it's a good strong tip like the Teton rods. Well, I broke those, but I went overboard. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong with those. I put those things through some abuse. So anyway, if you guys haven't seen or heard about the C double, you're probably, I guess you must be, I don't know, living under a rock. So there is the handle. Now I already had taken, let's look at it this way. Now that's the first thing I do. I know the real test, you guys have seen him. Somebody commented about him leaving the deals on. And I've talked about it before. Back in the day, I would try to leave them on, like, oh, I'll just save the cork or foam or whatever. But it honestly doesn't do any good, because then if it does get wet or anything and you're not paying attention, right where it got wet will get like a stain, and then where it's never got wet, it's like holds moisture. It's not good. I take it right off the bat. Just get rid of it, get it out of there. And let's read this thing. Double CU IM8. Ultralight and light. 0.5 to 4 grams or 2 to 6 grams. 2 to 6 grams, you're talking my language, but go more like to 2 to 10, 2 to 12 maybe. Somewhere in there. Okay, I ain't gonna lie. Maybe go from like 2.5 or 3 to 10. Now I go to the little, we've only gone a few times. Well, Charles has gone a lot more. I've only gone a couple times with him. That's where you would get into that little ultralight tip. Is a little small ponds, creeks, streams. You can throw it like that's one thing about why I like the Zephyr. I feel it's a strong enough overall as far as durability. I've been throwing that thing, throw little poppers and whatever, little cranks and stuff, kind of overloading it, and it seems to handle it all just fine. So for me, I'll probably start out with the light tip on this, just because I already have so many. You guys have seen them. I already have so many ultralights over there that didn't come with a light tip. I've only got my 661 Teton, which is a light one-piece rod, and then I've got the other Toma that has come with a light tip and an ultralight, and then I've got the one that's an ultralight, the real colorful one that I like. I said I'm keeping. It's supposed to be an ultralight, but it's almost like a light. So yeah, the real test, he may have been right. It does look good. Here's the issue with this: is like what looks good with that. I don't. As far as I know, you can't even buy brown EVA if you wanted to try to make your own knob. I guess, yeah, this reel would go all right. Let's see if you guys can get a look at that. And we'll talk more about that knob, but I guess that kind of looks all right on there. Yeah, it would actually work just fine. Now this knob I would switch out. I'd probably put one of these other ones, but all right, let's see what else looks good on there. So yeah, you could, as far as a match, if you guys want to match, you don't want to put this on there. Oh boy, somebody's going to do it. I'm going to see a pic on, I'm going to see a pic somewhere. Somebody's going to have Well, I think that did the real test already do it? I know he uses this rod a lot to cast a lot of different things, but he uses the ultralight tip. I have to admit, that, like before, I think that's why I gave this to Charles. He put a different tip on it or whatever because he kind of liked it too. I like it. I almost just wish it had a different, but this does feel good. But you know me. I know. I keep saying it, but I haven't done it. I'll rip that stuff off and put an actual cork handle on there, possibly at some point, if I don't like the way certain things match. Let's just see if a Zephyr, in case you guys like, because everybody's got the Zephyr, right? I guess I should be telling you how it feels. It actually, that's the light tip. Now the Zephyrs, well, none of my reels are really heavy, but it actually balances. Like right here at this rod, you wouldn't have to add any weight, and it's got a balanced feel. And I'm sure the ultralight tip is just a touch even lighter. So let's see. I know this one balanced. I didn't double check it. But I think this is just as heavy or heavier than the Zephyr. This is like a tank compared, and it's lightweight. I think it's only 5.6 or 7, but compared to a lot of my other ones, you guys see that balance point? I don't know if you guys can make it out. So just in front, but basically the way I palm, if I've got my finger up front, it won't tip down. So that is actually a very good balanced rod. Very good. Very good. 30, what did I say? 34, $8, 2 tips. It's definitely so far legit. Now I'm gonna have to get out and either cast with it or take it fishing. I'm hoping Saturday is good enough weather. All right, let's take our lightest reel. Now this is gonna look good on here too with this knob especially. It's not the exact same color. Let me put the handle down. Hang on, I'm jumping the gun. Got a little bit of the gold with some gold. So this reel just is that's why they still make it. Nobody can touch it yet. They've tried, they just can't. Okay, it's very light. The whole setup feels light, but it has that teeter-totter effect. See that? So it's just a touch. This is so light that palming in the same position as the other one, see how it's tipping up? But it's definitely like no big deal. Like it's not enough. It does not feel tip heavy. It's just when I let go of it, I can feel it wanting to teeter that way. The other ones were almost dead even. My Teton is actually the opposite way. Like when you go like that, it wants to go down. I put maybe a touch too much. Like if you put a bigger reel, if you put this on it or the real lightweight ones like this, which I like on the Teton, then it's not as bad. But you stick something heavier, like you put that guy on a Teton, it'll feel almost heavy the other way. Yeah, the PW should, yeah. Once you get into the light, under 5 grams, under 5 ounces. This reel only weighs 5 grams. It's unbelievable. All right, I'm just going to try this one on it in case somebody wanted to see, but I got some news for you guys. I was debating about painting this. I'll be honest. I'm just going to sell this. The clamber is going bye-bye. Nothing wrong with it. Works fine. I don't know. It doesn't have the wow factor of the overall. I think I'm kind of over the fish band stuff. So I think I'm gonna put this one up because it's got a little sentimental value. So may fix it, may not fix it. Just put it up. Either way, get rid of this. This is the only other one I have but it's actually not a fish. It's the same thing as PW100, but it is a Sonora, which I also believe the XF50 is on the same frame. It looks like it. Looks like the same exact frame. But so I don't know. There's just something about this that I like. This one's heavier, but I would honestly say this one will probably outdo it. Definitely in the lighter stuff. But there's just something about that one, and then the Black Knight, not that one, the one I got torn apart. It looks real good now, doesn't it? But there's just something about it that I can't explain it. mean, it palms good, casts good. Well, one thing, the color, I think if they, the either black, bright silver, or something to go with all that red would have looked better. That it's just a off. They kind of went with the black along with the red on the anodizing parts and that dark gray, and it just, there's just something about it. I know looks shouldn't matter, but it just doesn't do anything for me in looks. And then that spool, if I don't know, I just feel like, I'll be honest, it reminds me of the Alpha's TW Air. And there's just something about that reel. Once I had it a while, I didn't like it. It just for the money too, If it was $80, I'd be like, yeah. But I gave 120, which is fairly cheap. I'm probably going to sell it for 100. I already offered to Charles. He said he don't want it. Charles loves his Black Maxes that he customizes and the PW100s. He does like the PW100s. He's like, I don't need anything else. He's got two now. I traded him one. He bought one back when the first Pro version came out, and I, suggested it to him and to everybody else that you buy one. So let's just try it with the ultralight tip. I guess I could weigh the tips, but I'm not going that far into it. We're about done with this video. I just want to try to stick the ultralight on it. And to see if it makes a difference, I'll stick first to Aldebaran. And I am selling Aldebarans, but not this one. I got to put the regular hand. I got the stock handles. I got to put them back on them. This Aldebaran is going bye-bye. That's the MGL 30 that I've dropped. If you guys have maybe seen it in a video before. It's got a few scratches right through there, a couple on the top. I mean, it still looks good overall. When you're just looking at it, you can't tell I dropped it. And it's the newest Aldebaran I have. Got the stock handle to put back on it. That's the MGL spool. Cast way down, lightweight stuff. Before you get to BFS, you can't really beat this spool. Problem is, you can beat this spool for what I throw. I can take this reel right here and throw what I throw, and I'm not worried about that spool getting damaged. I can throw a 16th ounce shaky head way further and just more easy than with this one. This one will still do it. I had them on the 802, and I was like, well, I just want to see, so I put this on the 802. It is just that much easier with BFS stuff for almost everything I throw. So it sounds funny, but this reel here is all more or less replacing my Aldebarans. One, for cost, these are only like $56, and I feel they'll cast like a wider range going way down into BFS, but then up to your standard stuff, and it's got a thick enough spool. I've been fishing 15-pound test. I had 15-pound on this one. They probably don't recommend 15 either on it, but if I'm going to run 10 on almost all of my BFS stuff, I'm going to run 10. On the bigger, older tanks, I'm going to run 15. But anyway, this Aldebaran, it's for sale, and I'm probably going to list him. If you're interested in buying it, you need to get on BFS. You need to be like where I can get hold of you either through Messenger or Facebook, not through here on YouTube. Then this is just the old original 50. It's going to be for sale too. I got the stock handle for it. I don't have the line off the spool yet, but that's just a stock 50. Oh, I should have mentioned this one is just a standard gear. So it's basically like a 6.6 or 6.8 or whatever they are to 1. It's not an HG or nothing. The MGL 30, it's an HG. This has one little nick right here. If you look right there, actually two, sorry. One right there, that's the worst one. If you can make out that little nick there and there. Believe it or not, those were both there when I got this reel. I have not put a scratch on this reel. I haven't put a scratch on this reel either, because I just simply use those. You guys have seen them. They're black socks. I cut them, turn them inside out, slip them on and off anytime I'm doing something with these other than in my hand fishing them or out here. And that's what happened with the freaking this reel. I was out doing some kind of test casting different stuff, and the line was sticking out. Somehow I caught the line and I yanked it off the deal out there, and it hit the concrete just one time. That's all it took. Did all that damage. Went from being, I think I gave, what did I give, $350 for this? I got a deal on it from somewhere. I don't even remember where. These still sell for, I think, $4 something, $420 new. I think I got it for $350, and it was like new. It was, I don't even remember now. So now I'm gonna probably have to sell it for like $250. I mean, it should still be worth $250, right? So basically $100 drop. Bing. I think it's worth $250. I thought the other one probably try to sell it for $2 to $50, and then I'm still up in the air. I'm debating on selling this one. I would make a deal. If somebody wanted to buy all three, I'd sell all three for $600, $200 a piece. But I'm not selling this one for $200. I'm not selling the MGL 30 for $200. But I'd sell all three for $600. Otherwise, I'm just going to sell the other two, and I'm just going to keep this one. I have had it long enough now. It's always made this noise. You guys hear that? Sounds like something's rubbing. It's always made it. It's always been free and cast good. I mean, but it's always had that noise. And I don't think the other reels make it. Hang on, let me put this up. Hang on a second. I know my videos are all too long. Settle down there, CU double. I don't think these reels make any noise. Well, I guess maybe a little. But no, every reel will make some kind of little noise when you really sit and listen and it's real quiet. And I can't tell with this one. I got the thing hit. But these just feel smoother too, like especially this one. Probably because it's lower geared. A lot of your lower gear stuff just feels freer. Then once you get into higher gear, it feels like a little more of a chore to turn it. But it just feels, I don't know. Those two reels have always felt just that little bit better. Where did I put that reel? Oh my goodness, I'm losing my mind. Yeah, there's just something a little loud, and it's not bad. It's just, when I got this reel, it was like brand new. I bought it used, but like I did the MGL, it was like brand new. It was real, I mean, it still looks good now. I haven't cleaned it in a little bit, not long, but it, since I've been fishing anyway, I took it out two different days now since I did clean it and kind of went through it. And somebody commented that their Shimano had went through a batch of, they had bad bearings that were noisy or something back when. So it is a possibility, but heck, it still works just fine. So I would still have to have, if I sold this just like it, no, I got the stock handle for it too. Just by itself, I still have to have $250 because I can go on eBay right now, and the best I can do you is one for $200 that is totally chewed looking, like it looks like a freaking dog chewed on it. So these are still very expensive. But anyway, they're going bye-bye. The clamber's going bye-bye. The other two Aldebarans. I'm not going all AliExpress. I'm going all BFS. So all my reels are going to be, and these, oh, that's what I forgot to tell you guys. All my reels I'm going to have from here on out are either BFS oriented or they're going to be coming factory with the clicker. See, these didn't come with a clicker. I added that. So that's kind of a plus. I mean, nowadays you can buy them on AliExpress for $20, but they both have clickers. Sound a little different. That drag is tight. That's part of why. I'd say out of all of them, this one is the least liked clicker for me anyway. This one, I like that. That came out perfect on that one. And then, of course, this one has the stock, which is very good. Nothing wrong with that stock one. Is it better than this one? That's a good one too. Can't really test a Black Knight one right now. This one's good now. If you guys remember right in the video, I actually took it apart. I kind of put more pressure on the spring. I pulled the spring apart to where it puts more pressure on it, and it seemed to help it. That drag's pretty tight too. This one, no clicky. So that sucks. Here's my homemade one. I think it may sound better than all of them. Yeah. Do I know what I'm doing? No, but I did it. It worked. Awesome. Then here's one that back in the day came from Dr. Trout. I think he's still there, possibly. Dr. Trout on eBay. Originally for a Daiwa. It's pancaked in by. So I was surprised it sounded as loud and as good as it does. It sounds good. And that is what this guy, same style. And I think when they made them deal smaller, they actually made it quieter, is what that is. This feels a little, or sounds a little quieter. And when you're turning it, you can almost feel it clicking. But if you remember, it has those crazy, skinny little ears that are doing the clicking. All right, guys, I guess I'm out of here. I'm going to, what was I doing? I'm out of here, seriously. Seriously, 50 minutes. Let's cut this down. We got less than 10 minutes to get out of here. I was going to show you guys with the, nope, didn't change it. Still feels tip heavy. Oh, that's actually right, because this has got a solid tip. So the ultralight tip is actually heavier. I'm almost positive. So let's see if it still balances with these other ones. So for you guys that are wanting to get out there, you want to CU double, but you want the ultralight one to go to little creeks and streams. Yeah, look, it changed it. Hang on. I don't know if you guys can make that out. I'm holding it the same way. It's not a lot. I mean, it's still good. It's still almost balanced, but it definitely balanced more. So let's weigh those, just so you guys will know. Just so you'll know, I'll know, and the world will know. We got to find a place to fit this friggin' thing. Let's just move this over here. Don't mind me. I got a little clutter going. I'm like a mad scientist down here. We're going to weigh. Oh boy, here, let's move this. Right there, right there. Uh-oh. You guys see that little C-clip I'm covering up? Don't lose that C-clip. It probably got grease on it, probably stuck to the bottom of this, and I'll lose it, and I better move it. All right, can you guys see that scale? No, wait, it's got to go down here. All right, can you see it now? I'm sure you cannot read that. Let's see. All right, here goes, which tip is that? Here's the light tip, which is the lightest of the bunch, I believe. Now I'm just holding it up. I'm trying to make it stand up, but it probably won't. 6.7 is what it looks like. This one, oh yeah, look at that. 6.7, 7.1, so close to half a gram heavier, which does make a difference when it's out towards the tip. 7, we'll call it 7.3. Ultralight, 6.8 or 6 whatever, 6.7. So 6, I don't know, 6.6 or 7. So yeah, well, this changes so much, but it's close to a half a gram heavier, that solid tip on the ultralight. So the perfect balance, which for me is fine because that's what the tip I'll probably be using with it. When you guys saw me put the other, like the reels that I liked on it anyway. The lingle is probably about the best overall. The lingle just looks good on a lot of rods. I didn't realize that it would look good on a lot of different rods. But a lot of rods have that, you know, the just bare metal look, and that's what the lingle has. And then if they've got any gold, I know the gold is off, but still it's, so here, yeah, with the light tip, it's just, it's that like right on the borderline, but it's there. It almost feels perfect with this reel on it. With the light, the ultralight, it definitely wants to feel just a touch tippy. But of course, the lingle is not a very heavy reel. What does it weigh? Like 5, 6, or 7 or something. So yeah, with the ultralight tip, like I can't just put my, I can just go out just a little bit more and then it's balanced. But like where I would normally do it, see how it's just wanting to raise up. But I mean, you can go like that and then it's balanced. But I don't like to do that. I like to just grab it and I'm casting, reeling, doing it all. So lastly, as I get out of here, the Black Knight is in shambles. Running for the hills. The lingle matches everything. Has a freaking spool way heavier than it's supposed to be. I want to talk about this real quick. As I go, oh, hang on. I got to go grab that rod. I missed it. What was that? Have it over here. I want to show you guys one last time here. I took a picture of it. I'm going to try to get out of here within an hour. So there's what, that's not real. That's real, but the colors are a little off. But I do have what I have. See where the color was almost close at one time, or maybe that's for me handling it. So it may actually get darker with time, but I actually have. And I know it's an expensive handle. I'll tell you guys more about that in a minute. But I have this stuff. And it does darken up stuff. That's what, if you look on this guy, that's what I did with that. Because these start out like this. The wood I use, and they almost to where you could almost get a bone look going if you wanted. At one time I was trying to get like a bone look going, and you can get close. It's almost like you got to press something hard on there to where it almost starts to get a burn. Anyway, but then you just use these basically wooden colored paint markers, basically brown markers is what they are. They got a light and a dark one, but you can get it in that wood. But it's just a trick of you don't want it to darken up too dark. But there's a possibility that I could darken that up to match this and have a perfect match. But for me, it's a close enough match. And I didn't really forget that I had this handle knob, but I bought it a long time ago, back when I was, I guess, dumb. Anybody know how much those things cost? And that's a Karen knob. They made two different styles. They made this thinner one, more finessey, which is perfect for BFS. And then they made a thicker, like standard one. Anyway, back in the day, and I can't remember the exact price, but somewhere between $80 and $85 for one knob. So yeah, you guessed it. That knob, because I gave full price for it. I've had it forever. I had it on a couple different reels. That knob cost more than this whole reel. And I'm grabbing about 0.5 grams on the spool. I know, ridiculous, right? But anyway, I bought this. Just some of the stuff that happens around here. This, I just like this combo. I fished it already. It looks good. Performs good. I like the, that's another thing about the lingo and the Black Knight. I won't have to add anything. The thumb bars on all these reels, and I know the reel test, you'll see him, like he thinks they're soft, which that's not soft, but if they feel, he calls it mushy. I've never had an issue with any of that. It's just where they set for me. I don't care if they mush down, because, and then the overall, like if they're not hard to push, because it used to not bother me. Then guys brought it up with Abu Garcia stuff, like, well, how's the clutch, this and that. And when I started paying attention to it, the old Abu Garcias, man, you had to push down, and then to engage them, a lot of times I found myself, like with the double handle, I'd have to get it to engage. Some of the first and second gen, but just some of the different Abu Garcias. But like I like them like the old Daiwas, because I've had Daiwas for years also. Just to be nothing you're worried about. You grab it and you turn it, and it does it. And that's what I did with the Black Knight. To me, anyway, I felt like it was like the old Abu Garcias, the original. But I sense it's loud. It's still loud. It sounds like it's hard, but it pushes a little bit easier now, and it had the dual springs. And I think a lot of these do. But anyway, I changed it to where, for me, I like it better, and I like this reel overall now. The Casking Zephyr. This reel's legit. I know I don't run it with a lot of line, because I'm always like asking it to do more than it really probably should, but it works good with that much line, and I can always put a little more. I probably would make a difference. That's just kind of what I put on it for testing. Charles had like double that amount on it, which is way too much. So I just kind of split it in the middle, and I've just been using it. It works fine. It'll cast. It's enough to cast as far as I want to cast, and little stuff and whatever. So yeah, I'm out of here. Stay tuned. We are about halfway through the rods now. I think we've got 6 more coming and more to go, and we'll do a little test somewhere along a white wall. Hang on. Yeah, the dragon. That's what Jay commented. Oh yeah, Jay. Jay's recommended now. I don't know. I'm gonna get one. I just don't know when. I got so many rods and so much stuff to do right now. The He commented how you might get a bad rod, and if they send you another tip, because he's had that happen with his dragon. And I had no issues with the dragon. I traded to Charles. I'm actually going to buy another dragon. I just got the Zephyr, and then so I think I'm going to buy a shorter dragon though. What I'm kind of finding out, like I got the 6'6" ultralight, and the dragon was a 6'8", and it was real soft almost. I'm almost thinking that once I get into lighter, action rods, I think I like them a little shorter than even say 6'6" to 7 and 8 or 9 or 10. Once they get long, they almost, even though they're not necessarily maybe a noodly rod, they just start feeling that way. Once you get too long and too soft in action, it creates more of a noodly feel. To where if they're shorter, they can still, be just as roughly same action. They just feel a touch more powerful, I guess, to me, the shorter they are on some of this stuff. Like where other guys nowadays, they're thinking, oh, it's got a lot of power because it's 7'4". That has nothing to do with power, length of a rod. Actually, you're giving up power to the fish or what's pulling on the other end when you get stretched way out there. That's just my thoughts. No, the clamber does work good. I don't have an issue with it working. And it actually does cast very well. Like when I'm out on the water, I don't know, you guys haven't seen any of those videos yet. Now it probably needs a little more line. I have no issues casting all that line right off. Like it just goes to where I got it on the spool. That's not the issue for me with the clamber. I just can't make myself like this reel. It does everything the way it's supposed to. It works. I can't explain it. Does it cast as small as stuff as I feel it should anyway? I don't know. I couldn't really feel that it was casting better than my Aldebaran, but I could instantly tell that the Black Knight 2 was casting better than my Aldebaran as far as ease of casting. Just like the Alpha's Air TW, it cast the smallest stuff awesome. Now it struggled with bigger stuff. I feel this is probably the better spool for like getting down low, but then not the better spool, but the better at being in a broader range. It'll cast low, 1.5 gram, no problem whatsoever, and it'll cast, 1/8 ounce to even a 1/4 ounce. You can zing it out. Then you become an issue with the amount of line, though. I don't know. Hard to explain, but it is definitely going bye-bye. $100 will buy this reel. I gave 120 for it. I've only had it. Have I had it a month? Man, I gotta get off here. I'm over an hour and 3 minutes. Guys, I got to get out of here. I still it's chest day. Got to lift some weights, pull some bands. You know the deal. I don't really have to. I'm just going to. Stay tuned. I have no idea. What do you guys think? Comment below. Should I contact that guy at the fishing store, LT Fishing or The Time? I think it's the same guy, same stores. I think he owns both of them. But anyway, it's false advertisement, right? Or should I just not worry about it? I haven't decided what I'm going to do, but I am going to put this back together just the way it is. I may measure those bushings just so I can know what size I need to get some. I probably have the one for here because it looks, whoa. This one looks standard, like the same way the Daiwa had one here, but that little dude over here, I'm probably going to lose everything. That looks like a smaller one that I probably definitely don't have. But I'm just going to get it back together and fishing because Saturday looks like I might have a window to fish, and I definitely want to fish it again and a lot of this other stuff. But stay tuned. A lot more coming. When it's a warm enough day, but maybe not a warm enough to go fishing all day, I'm going to try to get out here with however many rods are here, and I'll try to take the Black Knight too, and we're going to just cast I'm going to make my own little, I don't have a trout magnet. I may get one from Charles by then, but probably not. I'm just going to make my own little crappie jig using basically one of these guys and cut it down enough to where it's 1 gram. You know, I'm going to take enough of this lead off, stick enough of just a plastic tail to where it looks like a trout magnet and weighs 1 gram. And then we're going to do like a shootout between all these rods. I'm just going to, you know, take a little time, and I'll do it with my actual GoPro, so it's not a live video. And I guess unless you guys want to sit and watch a live video, because that would take forever. It's going to take a while. Basically, got to string the line through the rod, tie the bait on, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to throw my homemade 1 gram trout magnet, whatever size that ends up being looking like. I'm also going to throw probably a normal 16th ounce or 2 grams, somewhere in that range, and then a bigger, you know, maybe the extreme to the, I don't know, whatever you guys think. Also, you know, what do you guys call the top end of BFS is another thing. Is it an 1/8 ounce or is it 1/4 ounce? It's not 1/2 ounce. And it's not 3/8. But, you know, I want you start throwing 3/8. You can throw it, and that's what I kind of want. But I want, you know, I don't know. I guess, what do you guys, especially on ultralight, what do you guys consider the high end of your ultralight stuff to be? Is it, can you throw 1/4 ounce with ultralight? I know you can with the Zephyr. I've already done it. I've already thrown the Zephyr. Will definitely throw 1/4 ounce. No problem. That rod is, that's a good, I was surprised how well that Casking Zephyr rod is overall for as soft as that tip is. All right, guys, stay tuned though. We're going to have some shootouts, and I'm going to have a whole reel shootout. I'm going to take all my BFS reels, whatever ones I got, and we're going to also have a little shootout with those on maybe the same trout magnet deal, but maybe, I don't know, some kind of little shootout between all of the reels overall. Same thing, I'm going to try to throw a lightweight bait, could be a 2 gram bait, and then a big bait, and see if one, and what I'm looking for me, which I feel the Black Knight will do, I know the Aldebaran tends to do it. I can throw just a little crappie jig, no backlash. I can throw a 1/4 ounce up to, you know, 3/8 or whatever bait. Well, probably not 3/8, but like a 1/4 ounce to say all the way down to that 16th ounce, and I never mess with the brakes. It's like a just set it and forget it reel. That's honestly what's more important to me when it gets to this BFS, the lightweight stuff. Then I'm also putting together a few of these older ones that are just kind of my power only BFS that can also go into the regular range. So they'll throw an 1/8 ounce bait, but then you can throw a 1/2 ounce bait, and those are like right in the middle of what it really likes. You could even throw 3/4 ounces. I was throwing a 3/4 ounce rattle trap with that 15-pound test. So far, no issues. It's only like one day and a half, but that's the plan for some of the older BFS reels. All right, guys, got to go. That is a long video. That's the longest video I think I've ever put out. Oh, well. Setting records. Bye. If I can shut this thing off.